Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the horseshoe intake manifold for my Jeep, for my supercharged Grand Cherokee. Now, I don't have a factory one. I was going to go to the pick apart, but I found this one for $25 on Facebook. It's a Dorman. It's new. I haven't played with a stock one to know how much better it is, or if it's better, or if it's just as bad. So far, the only real problems I've found is that I've got some sockets sitting in here to hold the gasket straight, but one of the first problems I found is if you line this up where the hole was, there was quite an overlap here, like the casting, or like they machined this hole off, or this whole thing is just shifted. Now it's a Dorman, so it probably is. It's probably got some core shift and it's just a little different than the factory one. Or they're all like that. So I took and slotted this hole so that I can move it to where I want it to be, because it was about here. And there's like an 1/8 inch lip right there. So I slotted it so I could bring it over to here. And I shouldn't have any problems doing that, because when you put the intake on, I'll probably stake this backside to help it center. But you're going to push down. The gravity's going to hold the intake down on the pins, so it should help line itself up. And if it hits anything else, I'll just grind some material away. But I've already gone ahead and I marked this all with a blue Sharpie. You can get Dykem in a can. It's got a brush, makes it a lot easier, but I couldn't find mine, so I just used the blue Sharpie. And I've traced everything out. None of it's that bad after moving this. And this gasket is the same both ways. I've checked it both ways. It's the same. Now, I was trying to see if there's a better gasket to use that's maybe a little bigger, but no luck. So, this is what we got to do. We're going to start by opening all this up just at an angle. We're going to bring it out to the gasket line. And we're going to do every one of these ports. This one's not real bad at all. That one's, now you got a lot on the floor. We're going to do that. And then we're going to see just how far back we can match it. We're just going to taper all that in as far down the intake runners as possible. I think one of the biggest things that's going to help is where this injector boss is. Like, this knot is huge. There's no need for that. Now maybe it helps the little turbulence going over that to help atomize fuel or whatever. I don't really think it matters. I'm not here for fuel economy. We're here for power. And that's the biggest bottleneck in this port. So we want to get as much of that out of there as possible also. I hope that the throttle body depth from head is the same so it doesn't mess with my intercooler. And I don't think there's anything else that's a big deal. I believe this is the same, or I at least hope so. I'm just kind of winging it. I've also ordered a header from Morris 4x4 down in Florida. So that's why we're not going to put this on the Jeep yet. I'm going to get this ported and get it to where I've done all I feel like doing to it. And then when we get the header in, we'll pull everything off, compare the two, compare the runner lengths, some of the volume, compare tube diameters on the factory header versus the aftermarket header, and the output size of the exhaust. But we'll compare all those things when the header gets here. I'm assuming probably Wednesday, but for right now, we're going to get to grinding on this thing. Now, I used to use a lot of air grinders, and I've got a friend who's really good at what he does. He does a lot of porting. He's also a machinist. He's got a better setup than I've got. But this is a variable resistor thingy, or potentiometer, to help slow this thing down, because if this grinder was wide open, it would just bend this instantly and be way too fast. So you can adjust your speed here. It really adjusts your torque. It doesn't really adjust max speed. It's kind of annoying. His is better than mine. And this is just an on-off switch. He's got a potentiometer pedal for like a sewing machine. It makes this much better. So this works, and you can kind of keep it from getting crazy. I've got several bent ones, especially once they get longer. If you don't have some way of slowing this down, as soon as you touch the pedal, it'll just fold that thing in half. Anyway, this is not an aluminum bit. You can use this on aluminum, it's fine. But even with the aluminum bits, you're going to want to oil or grease or use whatever you can. I always use a candle. This one's a hot cocoa and cream. It smells freaking great. This is more of what you would use to take a lot of material on aluminum. Much larger teeth. But these are also very aggressive and get to jumping around. So I like the finer ones, but they get clogged up faster. So you gotta keep them dipped in wax or WD-40. You can use lots of stuff. But just use whatever you gotta use to keep it from getting clogged up. So I got everything set up here, so I'm just gonna get to grinding. Alright, so that's step one. We've got everything out to the lines. It goes so much faster with the aluminum bit, but if you're new, it goes so much faster with an aluminum bit, you can mess up before you know it. So get this thing propped back up, but we should be good. See how everything's just at an angle though? You can only go so deep. The aluminum's only so thick once you get in. So now I'm going to start grinding further and further back. And we're going to take this giant knot off of here. To get further back in there, I've got more long shank ones, but a lot of these I've already bent, so they kind of suck. We got lots of different shapes and lots of different things to get in there. So I think we're going to try... The bigger you can get, the better, but when you're playing with something that's got those the rounded corners that are real tight, if you get big, you can't get in that corner right. And if it's too small, it makes it harder not to cause ruts. I mean, you can always work it out later, but if you try not to make a rut, you don't have to figure out how to get it out. And if you're really new, I've seen a lot of people's port work, and there's all kinds of ruts. It doesn't look as good. But if this is your first attempt at porting something, just do it. You'll get better at it over time. So I think we will use that guy. No, I think we'll go with this. Probably as far as I'm going to take it. I'll clean it up with the sand roll now. Round everything off, but I always try to keep, when I'm doing those things, I try to keep it perpendicular to this surface to kind of replicate the head. But giant knot, not so much. I'd say the bulk of the work in this manifold, if you were just wanting to do a little bit of work, is cleaning this up and getting that out of the way. That's probably the best or the most important thing to do with this, I think. That's definitely the bottleneck. There's a possibility of maybe some turbulence here to help atomize fuel. That's the only reason I would think they would intentionally do it, because air is going to speed up right here at the choke. But I doubt they did that for that reason. Either way, we'll want more flow, make more power. This thing's boosted, so we're gonna do this to all of them. There's some more tools I use while I'm doing this. This is all cheap Harbor Freight garbage. But these used to tell you how thick things are, so they don't bust through. They kind of suck because you still got to eyeball it. They make a digital set. You want those because then you can just pinch it and whatever it says on it, that's how thick it is. These, you're still kind of guessing. Now these, I've been working this wall right here because it was like this, where it looked like we had to move a lot, where I had beveled the entry. And I was thinking, well, I've moved the wall a lot, but this port I barely touched the walls on. You can still see most of the casting marks. And it's pretty, you know, straight, the same size all the way down this port. This size where I've worked the entry is about the same size, and then it gets tighter and tighter and tighter till about right there. It never quite opens up the same, and I can't get back there to that, but I can get all the way, you know, about 4 inches in, maybe 5 inches in, and make it the same as this one. And you want to do that to try to make all these the same width and the same height as possible. Get them all as close as you can. Some of them are all different shapes and you can't always get there, but that's the goal, is to try to. So this one's tighter this way too. About the same. Let's see, I barely, these ones you can't really tell because that the little injector boss is there. We could check width. Let's see, this is loose, just snug. So we've moved the walls that much already. So we want to keep doing that the best we can and try to make them all as close to the same as possible. If one's a little bigger or smaller, who cares? It's not going to bother me. But I'm going to keep going at it. That's what we got so far. The grinder caught and went a little haywire on me. So now I'm gonna have to, when I'm done, I planned on it anyway. I planned on running this on the machinist friend of mine. It's got a giant belt sander, so you can just kind of set this on it and it'll flatten all this, straighten it back out where I messed it up a couple times. I hit it here too with the grinder. Gotta watch this. I went in a little too deep and hit it, but back to it. Alright, this is where we're at right now. I'm done in this area. Got those pretty decent. And we came from this. Look at that. To that. Much better. Now we're just going to work the floor in. There's not a whole lot to do here. It's already pretty close. We'll just work these corners where this one is not real dug in. It's where these smaller bits help, because you can run the smaller bit in here and really push that corner in. Just watch you don't go through the wall. It's not super thick right there. So pay attention as you go. Once we do that, we'll compare width-wise and height-wise from these ones that I haven't really touched yet. All I did was bevel the entry to the ones that are finished. And we're working on the last step of the porting process. This is about what it's going to look like. I like the rough texture. You leave it like that. If you study boundary layers, the rougher the better, the smoother the worse. The smoother it is, the thicker the boundary layer, effectively making your port smaller. So don't polish this stuff. Now, a lot of people disagree and think smoother the better, but I don't think so. So once again, we're coming from this to this. It's much better. Much, much better. So now I've just got to get all the rest of these to this point, and then we can move on. Got these 3 done, so before I do these 3, I want to check the area. Now, we're not going to get too fancy where that injector bump is. I guess we'll kind of estimate it the best we can, because it's not going to be perfect. The airspeed's going to be increased a lot right there where that bump is, but it's not like the whole port set size, and it's not like I'm some mad scientist. We're just going to do some basic measurements. We'll check this, the width. All right there, we'll take our calipers that are apparently about dead. 0. 1, 2, 5, 60. 1, 2, 5, 6D. It's that wide. Height. I'm not exactly sure how you would check the height because of that bump, but we'll go with that. One 5.560. Now we'll check this side. One 3.520. Get our height. $600. Now we're going to do a basic calculation. 1.256 and 1.5560. So the old area was, without including the bump, 1.95. So now we'll do our new one. So we went from 1.95 square inches of area to 2.16, but I don't exactly know how you would calculate. That was just the height of the major area, not this. I don't know exactly how you would calculate that, because we clearly took a huge chunk out of there. So take that information as you will, but either way, it's got to be better. So 3 more to do. Well, I've done all I'm gonna do. I feel pretty good about it. Hopefully this gave some people some insight on if they feel like they could tackle this on their own or not. I did make one boo-boo right here. It was getting a little thin, and the grinder bounced and blew a hole right through it. I could have been a little more cautious and left it thicker, so I do think you guys, if you're thinking about doing this, maybe don't get so extreme with those, but I know if I went through it, I'd just weld it up, so it is what it is. I hope this helps some people with some insight on whether they want to try porting this themselves, or It's really not that hard. Just get your gasket up there, get it marked out, and some bits and a grinder, and get going. I would not attempt this without some kind of speed control for your grinder though, because it will absolutely wreak havoc without it. But the next video is probably going to be, next video is probably going to be tomorrow. I got a radiator for the Jeep, so I'll do a video on swapping the radiator out. I think I'm going to do electric fan conversion soon and try to make the computer do it. You know, trip the relay with the factory computer. Another guy commented on another video that he did it with his TJ and it worked. So I tried it on my Dakota and it's like it doesn't have the hardware there. But I'm going to try it on the ZJ, see if it works. And the next video is probably going to be that header's coming from Florida. So I'm guessing probably maybe Wednesday or Thursday if I'm lucky. So maybe Friday. Maybe I'll have it all done by Friday. And then I'll put that video out. And then we'll see if we can actually tell a difference. We'll be able to see in our tune. I know what how much fuel it's using right now. If it's a little leaner and I've got to add fuel, then I know it's making more power. If it does the exact same thing with the exact same fueling, then it didn't change enough to matter. But we'll find out. And then after that, we'll figure out the next step. I'm thinking the 1.7 roller rockers, or actually just put a cam set in it. It's got a cam crank correlation codes, and it's got 300-something thousand miles. I've played with the distributor to try to get it right, and I got it pretty good. It wouldn't throw it until high RPM, but I'm pretty sure the chain's just so worn out that it's just slapping around, and it's never going to stay in sync. So I need to fix that soon before I'm out in the woods and it strips the teeth off of one of the gears, and then I got to try to get it out dead, so I don't want that to happen. And might as well, while I fix some time and stuff, might as well throw a cam in there. I hate doing maintenance. I love doing mods. So hopefully this helps some people. This is supposed to make, I don't know, people are claiming 20 horsepower. Some people are claiming that it makes no difference at all and you lose low end torque. I don't see how. It's got longer runners, more plenum volume, all the things you want, except for that giant knot in the injector bungs. But they're gone now, so we're going to find out. I'm going to do a couple more things, and then we're going to do a dyno video and see if we can't get over 200 horsepower. Now that I got an intercooler, crank timing up too, we should crack 200 fairly easy. I hope. Anyway, we're going to find out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.